Imagine your first day at a software company. Your manager says, "Our client needs software. Go ask what they want and start coding." You meet the client, and all they tell you is, "I want software for my business." Your first instinct might be to open a blank screen and start typing. Can you just start typing code and hope for the best? Absolutely not. Without knowing any details or features, your project is doomed from the very start. It's the same as telling a construction crew to just build a tall building. Without a plan, they won't know how many rooms you need, what your budget is, or where the kitchen should go. Just as a physical building requires an architectural blueprint before a single brick is laid, software requires a defined plan before you write a single line of code. If you skip this step, you might spend months working hard, only to find out you've built something that doesn't solve the problem. To avoid that, developers have to answer a few critical questions first. What problem are we actually solving? Who is going to use this? And what should the software not do? The answers to those questions are what we call software requirements. Think of these as a checklist of everything the app must be. It could be a feature, like a search bar, a function, like calculating a total, or a condition, like working on both iPhones and Androids. Once everyone agrees on these specific rules, you finally have the foundation you need to start the project. In the world of software engineering, we split this big checklist of rules into two main categories. The first category is functional requirements. These are the simplest to understand because they describe exactly what the software should do. For an online shopping app, functional requirements are the actual tools and actions the user sees on their screen. Things like creating an account, searching for a product, adding shoes to a cart, or making a payment. These are functions. Without these, the app can't perform its main job. It would be like having a car with no steering wheel. The second category is non-functional requirements. Instead of describing specific features you click, they describe how well the software performs. These are the underlying qualities, the things happening behind the scenes to make the experience good. For our shopping app, a non-functional requirement might be that every page must load in under 2 seconds, that all credit card data is encrypted, or that the app stays running even if 10,000 people use it at once. To see the difference, look at checkout. The software processing your payment is a functional requirement, but the software making sure that payment is secure, that's a non-functional requirement. If you ever get confused, just remember the golden rule. What it does is functional. How it works is non-functional. Because developers rely on these rules, the language we use to write them is very important. If a requirement says, "The software should be very fast," that doesn't actually help a developer. Very fast means something different to everyone. But if we say, "The software must load within 2 seconds," there is no confusion. This makes the requirement testable. At the end of the project, a developer can use a stopwatch to see if the app meets that goal. It's a simple yes or no check to prove the work is done correctly. When requirements are vague or incomplete, things get expensive. Imagine a team building a school management system. They assume the client only wants to track student grades, but months later, the client asks why there's no way to track teacher payroll or library books. Because those needs weren't written down at the start, the developers have to go back and change everything. All that time spent coding was based on a guess that turned out to be wrong. Which do you think is more expensive to fix? A small typo in the code or a major misunderstanding with the customer? Fixing mistakes later costs significantly more. Catching a bad idea on a whiteboard during planning costs nothing to erase. But if the software is finished and deployed, you might have to tear down and rebuild the entire system. To avoid this, professional engineers follow a clear process. They understand the business, ask deep questions, write everything down, and then get the customer to confirm it's correct. Only once those requirements are confirmed do they start the actual design and coding. But how do you get a client to tell you what they need when they might not even know themselves? That's where the art of requirement gathering comes in, and we'll cover that in the next video.